time is it? It's party o'clock. I'm throwing a small party and my friends are coming over. Isn't that great? But before the party begins, I must create some streamers for decorations. I already have the cutouts like these. But before putting them on the string, I must decorate their edges. Why don't you help me? Let's decorate the sides of this triangle with this tape. But how do I know how much tape would I need? For that, we need to find the length of all the sides of this triangle and add them. But hey, can you see that all the sides of this triangle are equal? Do you know what we call such a triangle? Yes, an equilateral triangle. But still, we don't know the exact length of its side. And we cannot just take any random number without knowing the exact length. So what should we do? That is when we use our knowledge of variables and proceed with the calculations. Here, we can use a symbol or a letter to represent the length of the side of the triangle. Let's consider a side of this equilateral triangle to be A. So the sum of all the sides will be A plus A plus A. Can we write this in another way? Yes, we can. Just like 5 plus 5 plus 5 gives us 3 times 5. Similarly, A plus A plus A will give us 3 times A. Oh, so the side of this triangle is 10 centimeter. All we have to do is replace A with 10. So it will become 3 times 10, which is 30. So we have to cut out 30 centimeter of tape for each of these triangular cutouts. But it is not the only shape we have to cover. We have some squares as well. Let us cover the edges of the square cutouts with frills. For this, we need to find the perimeter of the square. Just like an equilateral triangle, the length of the sides of a square are equal. Let's consider the length of one of the side as S. So the formula for the perimeter of a square will be S plus S plus S plus S, which can be easily written as 4 times S. This can also be written as 4S. When there is nothing written between a number and a variable, it means that they are being multiplied. Let's measure the length of one of its sides. Shall we? See, it's 9 centimeter. Replacing S by 9 in the formula, we get 4 times 9, which is 36. So we need to cut out 36 centimeter of this frill for each of these squares. Moving on to the next shape, rectangles. Should we cover it with tape or frills? Let's go with glitter tape. Again, we need to find out its perimeter. But how do we do that? Because unlike a square or an equilateral triangle, the rectangle does not have equal sides. But did you notice? The opposite sides of the rectangle are equal. But still, there are two things, the length and breadth, which we need to measure. So, we use two variables here. Let's take the length of the rectangle as L and the breadth of the rectangle as B. Now, as the opposite sides of the rectangle are equal, we can write them also as L and B as well, like this. So, we can write the perimeter as L plus B plus L plus B. And to simplify it, we can write it as 2 times L plus 2 times B, which we can write as 2 times L plus B. This is similar to the distributive property of numbers. Much better, isn't it? So now let's measure its length first. It's 8 centimeter. And now it's the time for correct breadth. And that's 4 centimeter. Now let's put the values in the formula to find the perimeter. The formula becomes 2 times 8 plus 4, which sums up to 24. So we need to cut out 24 centimeter of glitter tape for each of the rectangles. So now, when we know the size of the tape and the frills, we shall apply them on the cutouts. While playing around with numbers and variables, did we observe one thing? That variables behave very similar to that of numbers. If we add any two numbers in any order, we get the same result. Similarly, if we add two variables in any order, we will get the same result as well. This is commutative property of addition. Let's check this with a small example. A and B are two variables. Now let's add them and see. We can add them as A plus B or B plus A. Now let's take the value of A as 3 and B as 4. In both the cases, we get 7 as the sum, which is equal. So A plus B is equal to B plus A. So as we like to say it, at the end of it, hence proved. In the same way, when we multiply the two numbers in any order, we get the same result. So if we multiply two variables in any order, we will get the same result for them as well. This is commutative property of multiplication. That means if we have A into B and B into A and substitute A as 3 and B as 4, we get 12 in both cases, which means the value is the same in both the cases. Again, hence proved. Last but not the least, you know, when we use a combination of addition and multiplication, we use the distributive property of numbers. Same can be done with variables as well. Here, A times B plus C will become A times B plus A times C. We can check this by taking the values of A as 3, B as 4 and C as 5. And doing the calculation, we get same thing on both sides. Since the variables represent numbers, so all the properties of numbers are also true for variables. Hey, look, we have made streamers out of all the cutouts and it's looking great. Thank you so much for helping me out with the process. Now, while I place these streamers on the wall, why don't you try to calculate the total length of the edges of a notebook? And remember, we stay curious.